I'm not wearing this casually. This is because we have something nice. Even the sound is different.
Yeah, it sounds like a radio microphone.
Seem quite extreme. Man, I've seen this movie so much. Welcome back, guys, to Hunchback Reacts on Trailers. As you can see, it's a little bit more of a special. I'm not wearing this casually. This is because we have something nice, like a more of a classic thing. What we're gonna do today?
Yeah, today we're gonna watch the trailer for Home Alone. That's a big classic, and since it's Christmas season, we thought it would be the perfect fit to react on this kind of trailer.
Yeah, it's not the new Home Alone, so Disney Plus just released the new one. Since we really have the Home Alone with like the original one close to the heart, we said why not react on the classic Home Alone 1. So yeah, shall we just dive into it? Is there anything that you have when do you watch this movie? I know it's always on repeat, like back in the day of television days. You saw this movie always as being on repeat. Is this something that you watch a lot?
Yeah, I think it's always nice, in certain times of the year to do a little throwback, and that's something, we would also like to do, to not just look at new trailers, but also to look at something that comes from the past, like blast from the past. And it's always a nice thing, during Christmas when you're with your family to watch these kind of movies. They always bring that coziness, that warmth that is the Christmas period.
Yeah, and the change in like the way trailer music was being done, and you had like the voiceover in a world of. This is kind of like the old days you had these, and therefore you can see a little bit of the changes between the new ones and the old ones. So, and of course, because it's Christmas or almost Christmas, let's dive into it and check what Home Alone 1 did on the trailer.
Mom! Dad! We stopped them! Where are you going? Where are you going? We're gonna miss the plane! Did you count heads?
11, including me. 5 boys, 6 girls.
Even the
4
sound is
parents,
different.
and a partridge
Yeah.
in a pear tree.
It sounds like a radio microphone.
Welcome aboard Flight 1275 to Paris, France.
Man, I've seen this movie so much.
So which house you want to hit first, huh?
My sister is in love with this movie.
Yeah, it's a
She
classic.
needs to see it every Christmas.
Every Christmas.
I know you feel that way because we left in such a hurry.
Do we set the timers on the lights?
Mm-hmm.
Did you lock up?
Yeah,
Did you close the garage?
that's it. I forgot to close
Are
the
there
garage,
kind of
that's
movies
it.
like this being made right now?
It's not
It feels like such an era where these specific movies were made.
Yeah, it was popular, I think, then to make these kind of movies.
Home Alone.
This is my house.
It was like the gunshot sound.
Yeah, the sound effects on this movie are really interesting.
Starring
The traps were really severe back then.
Joe Pesci.
I have the feeling it got a little lighter over the years, so
Yeah, it wasn't so violent. It wasn't so
this is quite
violent.
violent for kids, huh?
Violence, yeah.
Catherine O'Hara. John Hurd.
Do you speak English?
That music, that's interesting how they use.
I have a feeling this is going to be your best Christmas ever.
You don't really hear this like in trailers anymore.
Yeah, and also I noticed the voiceover. It's not something so common.
Directed by Chris Columbus.
You guys give up?
Like jazzy sound.
Coming this Christmas.
And the voiceover, what we just said before, that's old school. Oh wow, yeah, it's funny how that changes. So indeed the voiceover that we talked about, that's not really being used anymore. Although I think it might come back because it's now being more vintage. Then it's kind of also more fun to bring it back. It's like, oh, that reminds us of the old days. So sometimes it can actually have value in new trailers to feel more old. So maybe it returns. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it works with the voiceover. It's sort of like a narration, so it's helping you really immerse yourself in the story. So I feel that's how it works, And nowadays you see that very less. It's more of the actors that are presenting you so that you familiarize with them. Here it's sort of like it's giving you a hint, but it's still the narrator who is giving you
It's a little bit of
context.
a mix. So you have these one-liners, of course, but that is in combination with the voiceover. Music-wise, they use kind of this very like jazzy music. I think it's like, especially in the end, like it's more, if this party is happening, like this jazzy party, I can't really have an example of a new wave trailer that does that. Do you have one in mind where you're like, oh, that's actually similar? Feels like it was like just in that age and time it worked. It worked pretty well.
Yeah, I think you don't see this kind of aesthetic anymore, and that's what makes it so original, and also what makes it unique, that every time you watch it, it doesn't feel boring, and that's why people watch this movie so much, you know. It's sort of like they're always surprised, not exactly like the first time, but it gives you that kind of excitement, that kind of feeling every time you watch it without getting so boring. And the comedy of it, I think, is what makes this happen. That you have fun every time, like it's you hear the joke for the first time. That's kind of the feeling I get from.
Also, I think like sometimes these trailers, they give away a lot of things that are happening in the movie. There are many traps, not because we've seen the movie. There's many traps that didn't really put in the movie, so you are in for a treat. And sometimes with these like comedy, family movies, they kind of give everything away, like all the best jokes, and then you watch the movie and kind of the punchline is gone. I think they did pretty well with this cut. And also I have to say that the traps in these movies, and I'm not sure if that's really the truth, but they seem a little bit more severe than if you have these family comedy movies now with traps. They seem quite extreme, quite violent. I'm not sure if this is... Are we being more safe now with what the kids watch?
I think probably there's so many outlets of violence already present with kids that before it was more movies. Now they are so exposed to violence that you know, you try to cut it out in the movies. But I mean, it also depends what the movies cater for. Here it's catered more for a younger public. So nowadays you can access to all kinds of content. So before, I guess it was more exposing, but yeah, it's interesting because there's not really I mean, it's kind of like the genre is interesting in that way, that it's changing over time, you know, with the Christmas movies.
Yeah.
So, for example, in Italy we have these Christmas movies, we call it cinema panettone, which is typical of Christmas, and panettone is a typical sweet that you eat at Christmas.
What?
And that's a whole genre. Yeah, it's a typical type of
they
bread.
They call
so
it like
cinema,
that. Okay.
panettone, yeah, and the panettone is a typical sweet that we have during Christmas. It's a bread essentially.
So does it mean like kind of cheesy? So it's like cheesy how we use it, like in if you think it's a little bit too sweet, we say it's like a little bit cheesy. I'm not sure actually why we use cheesy.
Yeah,
It
that's
should
like
be
the
something
cheese.
sweet.
Yeah, it should be like something with sweet.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, it's usually associated with those kind of movies, you know, that it's a bit on the lighter side, you know, very comedy, very making jokes about themselves and stuff like that. It's just a light watch, you know, that the whole family can sit and watch and have a good laugh.
It's fun, and I know that this movie almost didn't reach an audience. Like there was some production problems, and then one a producer, a party, like a firm that didn't believe in it anymore, and then the other one taken over, and it almost didn't get made. Can you imagine, like it's such a famous movie now that this one never got made?
Yeah, it's interesting to think that it could have never, you know.
And my personal opinion,
released.
the first two are the best, and I think then the third one is like with another kid. I think you should always change it, and you should always try to make it better. And for a newer generation, for me, I'm really sticking to the original ones. These are the best for me. And funny to see this trailer, such a different approach than we do nowadays, but still good, still working.
Yeah.
Are you gonna watch it this Christmas?
Yeah, I guess it's gonna happen at some point. Even if I don't want to, it's gonna be on TV anyway. So
yeah, so you get little glimpses of it, and then you stick around.
It's gonna be there.
This was fun, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure if you like this to subscribe and follow us. We're gonna do a lot more of these classics and also the newer versions and the ones that are favorites, reacting together with composers.
Yeah, thanks for
Thank
joining,
you.
guys, and we see you in the next episode.